Now, Jim, it's your turn. Our new Citizen of the Year for 2012, Jim Murphy.
Okay, I know you're all stiff and you needed a break. Has anybody not heard about the turkey drive? Good. Chair Jack, Ken, Carl, Brenda, and Kathy, and Sandy, and Fred. Thanks for sitting without your spouses tonight. Father Sheridan, my good friend. My co-worker, Kathy. Joyce, Neil, and Dave. Thank you for being part of this. And what about Mike and Dave and Rudy? Pretty fine guys, eh? When this all happened, stuff appeared on Facebook, which I know very little about other than the name. And people put some things on it, which Mike sent to me. And I just, rather than saying something individually, I just want to mention one of the things that both Mike and Dave worked as special educational assistants to a young lad that was challenged at Laurelwood School. And so this teacher posted this on Facebook. His referring to me, his most valuable job was investing in other young men who themselves are spectacular citizens. So I guess everybody knows I'm a liberal, Mike. Thank you. Jack, his committee, my family and friends will tell you that I was coaxed to this podium tonight, kicking and screaming as a bit of a reluctant participant. The thought of it made me squirm. Why would anyone not want to receive this recognition? Or why would anyone not want to be Citizen of the Year? However, as I talked with some of you, given some of the other public recognitions, including my fledgling and never seemingly ending campaign to be mayor of Urbsville, where by coincidence last week we unanimously passed with the one-person council not to have a casino in Urbsville. The timing just didn't feel right. However, the lobbying, the phone calls, the arm twisting began. One of the arguments being made that recognition of individuals is important to affirm other people for becoming involved in the community. For me, I reconciled receiving the award as an opportunity for a possible teaching moment with the community and what motivates me, and so here we are tonight. First, I want to express my thanks to those who placed my name in nomination, whoever and wherever you may be. Thank you. And I want to thank Jack and the Kitchener Lions Club, Kevin as president, for organizing this annual dinner to recognize people in the community. They do this night up very well. Nice dinner. Earlier this afternoon, a big black car came to the house to pick Marianne and me up and bring us here. And as you might expect, we're used to big black cars. The difference with this one was we didn't have to lie down. We've all heard the cliches that we don't do community work for recognition, or it's giving back for what we've received. For me, it's more about the people who are missing tonight. The people I would like us to recognize are the ones who can't pay $100 a person to be here. They don't have memberships in gyms or golf clubs. They don't have season's tickets to sporting events, and they don't spend the winter months in warmer climates. So for the next few minutes, if you'll bear with me, even though we are past your closing time, Jack, rather than focusing on one person as a Citizen of the Year for 2012, I'd like you to think with me of other citizens in our community and what the year 2012 was like for them, and then share with you what really makes me squirm. Some people are known to have their top 10 list. My sense is that most of us in Waterloo Region think in 8s rather than 10, and that's because we have 8 of everything in Waterloo Region. So, here we go, and that's as political as we're getting. Number 1, 47 years in funeral service has helped shape me, and at times it's made me squirm. Many of the families in those 47 years didn't have addresses in well-established neighborhoods. An 84-year-old woman lived at Mary's Place for over 10 years. Some with debilitating health issues and pre-palliative care lived at the Hospitality House, operated by the Working Center. And others had no known address. Some have been part of the 9,000 people on a waiting list in Kitchener-Waterloo for subsidized housing, many living in shelters or, as it's called, couch surfing. Death is not determined by your address. It doesn't matter if you shop at Vincenzo's or the food bank, or you stay overnight at the Waterloo Inn or at Mary's Place. And what has made me squirm in funeral services is that many of the survivors are already living with challenges and now have this thing called death and often not equipped to deal with the emotional and financial fallout. Already vulnerable because of circumstances beyond their making, they now become overwhelmed in a downward spiral of grief that eventually smothers their ability to heal. When we serve that same family again in future, nothing has changed. In fact, in many circumstances, the situation is worse. They did not have the resources to deal with the fallout of grief initially, and their extended network of family and friends is often not equipped to support them in a meaningful way. Number 2, out of the cold makes me squirm. Despite the new supportive housing, a Waterloo initiative to supply housing for 30 citizens that were once regular out of the cold guests, the numbers increased by 40% this winter. Started in 1999 as a temporary solution to homeless people living on the streets, people this winter were sleeping in the hallways because the gymnasiums of the 7 participating churches were packed. Out of the cold seems to have become a permanent home for too many people. And in my mind, every citizen in 2012 deserved clean, safe, affordable housing. Number 3, business at Mary's Place, a shelter for women and children at the YWCA in Kitchener, is booming, and that makes me squirm. In 2012, Mary's Place served 977 citizens whose age ranged from infants to women in their 80s. Of those, 234 were children. which is an ever-increasing number. Single people stayed an average of 36 nights. Mothers with children stayed an average of 46 nights. For 2012, that translates into 33,506 nights of emergency shelter. And folks, that's 91 years packed into 365 days. There were 117,271 meals and snacks. Mary's Place is a shelter for 60 people, and in 2012 averaged 91 guests per night at an occupancy rate of 150%. The Waterloo Inn, any hotel in Kitchener-Waterloo would love those occupancy rents. Family homelessness is a serious business in our community, and it should make us all squirm. Number 4, in 2012, the House of Friendship distributed 34,000 emergency food hampers to our community. Many at the end of the month, when rent, utilities, and other expenses were due, and there was no money left for food. That's an increase of 726 hampers from 2011. 2013 is tracking larger numbers. It's another booming business. House of Friendship has a shelter for 39 men. Many nights they accommodate their allowable maximum of 51 if they roll out the portable cots. Each year they serve approximately 42,000 people with food, shelter, supportive housing, and addiction treatment. Number 5. I squirm to know there are 1,000 children on a waiting list at Kidsability. Their average age is 3. Depending on the services they require, their wait time could be anywhere from a few months to over 2 years. Kidsability sees more children year after year, but simply cannot keep up with the demand for services in this growing community. In 2012, Kidsability saw 5,550 children and youth with special needs. And these children shouldn't have to wait a couple years. Number 6. When we were distributing turkeys for the Kitchener-Conestoga Club Turkey Drive, a woman in line was asked our standard question if she wanted a turkey or a ham. She proudly announced that she wanted to make a donation and pulled a rumpled $5 bill from her winter coat. She told me that for 3 years, she and her husband had been the recipients of a turkey. However, in the last year, they both received part-time work and now wanted to make a donation to help others as she was helped. It was one of those moments. It confirmed for me that people want to give, not receive. And inside each and every one of us is a desire to succeed. However, as I shared this story with some of my friends, I squirmed when they suggested her response was surprising, since many who receive assistance are quite happy with that lifestyle and know how to work the system. No one wants to live in poverty and be dependent on others. And we need to rid ourselves of this cruel notion that a certain group of our citizens are happiest when receiving handouts. Number 7, the very basic necessity in life for all of us is food to survive. And the need for agency after agency to provide food to those it serves is commendable, but should be unacceptable in a region that is booming like ours or in a prosperous country of Canada. In 2012, the food bank distributed 3.1 million pounds of food to 78 programs in Kitchener-Waterloo. And that should make us all squirm. 26,800 people came to the food bank in 2012 to get their daily food. In 2008 and 9, when the last major recession hit, food distribution increased by 13%. The discouraging part of that statistic is that our local economy has improved with more employment, new businesses, but the number of people receiving food has not decreased. In fact, it has increased. And finally, Waterloo Region's favorite number 8. My family makes me squirm, mostly in good ways. For me, life is defined by family and friends, and in my book, I am at the top of the Fortune 500 list. You've met David and Michael and Rudy through them, their spouses Leanne, Diana, and Brandy. You've heard about the grandchildren, Katie and Jackie, who are here tonight. Hopefully Cecilia, Elliot, James, and Oliver have eliminated the sugar rush from Grandma and Grandpa's last night and are at home in bed. My parents, Irene and Albert Erb, who are here this evening and are 90 and 92 respectively on their next birthdays, continue to be an inspiration. The person that makes it all happen for our family is Marianne. She's our rock, our storehouse of energy and love, artistic, creative, always up, regardless of the challenge. She makes us all squirm with her generosity and unconditional love. So I leave you with a question. How do we respond to these other citizens that lived in these circumstances in 2012? And how do we support them in 2013 and beyond? The easy response is to say we need more government funding. And there may be some truth to that. But more important, we need you and we need me. One person at a time to affect change and make a difference in our community. We simply can't afford to sit here tonight and think the person next to me or across the table is going to pick up the slack because I don't have the time, because I've done it, because it's someone else's turn. Collectively, I hope we have the human and financial capacity to make life a little bit better for some of our most vulnerable neighbors. One person can make a difference. Two can do more, so can three. And imagine what this whole room and many more other rooms would be if we picked up the torch. Thank you for being here this evening and celebrating this recognition with me and my family. Your gracious notes, emails, words of encouragement have been overwhelming, and they made me squirm. The best outcome for me as a result of this recognition would be for you to leave this room tonight acknowledging that you squirmed yourself a little, and commit that in 2013 and beyond, that together we think about citizens in this community who collectively also deserve to be recognized, and for us to provide them with a better lifestyle. Thank you.